Hey, what's up, horror fans? Welcome back to the Week in Horror. Thank y'all for joining us. This week, we got a very special treat. I am in the studio with Jared and Eugene. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. Holy shit. We are in the studio, like in the fucking booth, fucking recording. And I just gotta say, I gotta give a thanks. We could not do this without your support, without the consistent support of our listeners. You guys helped us to get here. So we're no longer, frozen in front of our computers. We're actually together. I can actually look over and see fucking Alex. He's like over here to my right. Hey. And Eugene's over here to my left. And we've been going off vocal cues this whole time for the podcast. And now it's like weird. Because now I like see people and it's like, what the fuck? So, but this should be awesome. Yeah, I'm so fucking jazzed to be in here.
And luckily everybody took a shower this morning, so...
It's definitely a small space.
And you know what? This
is a little cramped. So tight.
Stop touching me. It's not quite a closet, but it's pretty close.
It's like the people under the stairs in this bitch.
Yeah, one of us can sit down right now. So we're just going to take turns sitting down.
Awesome. And we get to do this stuff because of you guys, your support, following us, and most of all, our Patreon supporters, which we now have 2 of.
2 Patreon.
Woo! Our very first one, very dear friend of mine, Jose Olalde, got in there with the first Patreon subscription and is now supporting us on a monthly basis so we can buy some soap so we can wash our nuts before we come in. And then our second Patreon subscriber coming in not too far behind him was Alexis Self. And that is somebody that is known to the podcast as well.
This is a good friend of mine, and she's a kind of a new fan to the horror genre, and she heard one of our episodes. She didn't tell me which one, but she was just ecstatic that now she's got like this list of horror movies that she can now watch because she's kind of getting into it now, and so she's gonna be watching all that stuff, and I'm gonna hear about it whenever I see her that she's watched something new that we talked about. I was like, oh my god, I saw this, but it's fucking amazing that we can introduce somebody new to the films that are like old hat to us, but we get to I kind of live vicariously through that experience and get to see her face when she's getting to go through all those things all over again. It's pretty fucking sweet.
Absolutely.
It's the whole purpose of the podcast.
Hell yeah.
To bring the shit to people.
And also, drop us a line. Hit us up on Facebook. Check out our email, www.weekinhorror.com.
Yes, interact with us.
What?
.net.
God. See, I'm over here dropping shit. Let me rephrase that. Send us an email at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Check us out at weekinhorror.net, which is our website. It's now live.
Yes, we've made it to the point we have a live website now. Definitely check it out. We're still working on it, but it's live. You can check it out. Interact with us. We don't bite. So go ahead, drop us a line.
Speak for yourself. Jesus Christ.
Threaten me with a good time.
So you got to go there. So we got the website. Yes. We got the website going. We got Patreon. We're on Facebook. We are with the Facebook page, and we're on Twitter now. And now we're in the studio. And we've done several giveaways. We got, by the way, I want to let all the listeners know, we got a big giveaway planned for when we hit 1,000 followers on Facebook. So if you're not following us on Facebook, jump on that page, give us a follow, give us a like, and when we hit 1,000, big giveaway coming up. We're gonna unveil more information as we get closer to that. But see that coming here pretty soon.
Paid for by our Patreon subscribers.
Yes. We can do big giveaways when we get that support that we need in order to keep this podcast going. So a big thank you to all of you listening. We couldn't do it without you. I say that all the time, but it honestly is the truth.
We wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah, we couldn't be here without you guys.
That's it.
All right, so here in the studio. Man, this is so weird. I'm like looking at Alex. Alex!
Hey!
What are we kicking off this week with?
Let's start this week off, February 2nd, 2001, with a movie called Valentine. This movie was directed by Jamie Blank, starring Denise Richards, David Boreanaz. I almost fucked that up.
You got it.
Mandy Shelton, Jessica Carshaw, and Katherine Heigl is actually in this one.
Fucking Katherine Heigl.
Fuck,
way back.
I think she was hot on Roswell at the time. She was on Roswell.
God, what else was she doing at that same time? I don't know.
Annoying motherfuckers behind the camera is what she was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, she finally got there, though. This movie is, essentially, it's just your generic slasher, but based on Valentine's Day. There's 5 women who get stalked by a Cupid mask-wearing murderer. And yeah, I mean, it's really just very basic slasher picking them off one by one.
Derivative, yeah, I would say derivative Hollywood horror film released during the holidays. February is a dump month, so I mean, obviously this is just one it's just a quick cash grab. Hey, let's throw out a Valentine's Day murder thing, whatever, and see if we can get any money off of it. It put some A-listers in it and pay them a bunch of fucking money to get it done, and yeah.
I gotta say though, I'm super excited in this movie when Cupid actually kills somebody with the bow and arrow.
That's actually the picture.
It was like a redeeming quality the whole fucking movie. It was just like I was like, oh yeah, no, this is okay. I can take this one.
They probably had that one moment, like we gotta get Cupid killing somebody with an arrow. Let's just make a movie around that.
But he's wearing that cherub mask.
What if a guy in a cherub mask that gets like nosebleeds and shit kills people with a bow and arrow, and he does it on Valentine's Day? Fucking print that shit.
Done.
Like, we got to give him some sort of brain issue. Just make his nose bleed. People will believe it.
Yeah, that's it. Mental illness. There it goes.
What really bothered me, though, was just the lack of remorse by, like, everybody. And that was the hardest part about the movie, was watching these girls get picked off one by one and then, like, go on dates. And they're, like, doing all this shit. And they're even getting interviewed by the cops, and they're kind of just like, yeah, whatever.
No fucking self-awareness whatsoever.
Fuck, man?
Yeah,
This is why you're getting
exactly.
killed. Like, it's not,
Is
he a villain, or is he doing a...
This goes
Super
into Hollywood put this out. This is your generic slasher film. It utilized tropes that were overdone anyway. It brought nothing new, nothing original to the genre itself, to the slasher subgenre, and it's just this is how you don't do a slasher film. Like, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, exactly, because what a lot of people don't realize is when you have these producers and these executive producers, most of them aren't artists. They're not filmmakers. They don't go to film school. Most executive producers have degrees in like business. So they're business people. So they don't care. A lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them don't care except to make money.
We say incentivized. They don't have the incentive.
Yeah, they don't have the incentive.
Yeah.
They're not trying. They're not trying to put out something that's like, oh, we're going to revolutionize the genre, or we're going to make like this, awesome. It's dollar signs. When you ask why is there so many Marvel movies, why is there so many Transformer movies, even though they suck, is because they keep making money, and people make them.
Well, I think
Last Extinction was awesome.
I am looking face to face with you right now. You better watch it when you're talking about.
Okay, I think he misspoke. Okay, the Marvel films are amazing
Yeah.
and should not be touched, but he is correct on the Transformer movies.
But the
Transformer
Transformer
one was
movie-
good.
Yeah, but
That was
it comes down to the fact that they look for a paycheck. They'll make a bad movie if they get a $50 million profit off of it.
There's that whole deal. Like many studios have backlogs of scripts that they literally have in the vault, and when they need something to come out, when they say, okay, well, we don't have any major releases. We don't, obviously our tentpole releases are scheduled for the summer, so we need something to fill the void. We can't just go 6 months with no fucking releases. So they'll tap the vault and they'll release in dump months like January, February, or August and September, and just dump like 1 or 2 films that come out there just to kind of keep the income flowing. And occasionally you strike gold, like with the My Blade Valentine 3D remake with Jensen Ackles, and that makes $100 million. Nobody expects it, but most of the time you get shit like Valentine, which it made a little bit of money. It did, because slashers will always make money. People will always go to watch idiots get fucking murdered. But this is legitimately how you kill a fucking slasher film. Is just you use tropes that you saw in Nightmare, that you saw in Friday, that you saw in Halloween, that you saw in Texas Chainsaw. You reuse your shot angles. You pretty much just redux everything, putting killer in a mask, all done, and like that stupid girls running upstairs when they should be running out the front door. Yes, I'm going to quote me some Kevin Williamson there, but just derivative and boring. And honestly, I thought it was boring, and I figured I was spoiler alert, I figured out it was David Boreanaz who was the killer by the like halfway through the fucking movie, and I was like,
Did you see? Because they pulled that red
it was
herring
fucking
shit.
it was fucking obvious because
when I was watching David Boreanaz on Buffy, from 1996. This movie came out in 2001. So I was watching him 1996 to 1998, and then he went to Angel, and I was watching him in that. So I got a real good feel for David Boreanaz's acting, for how he acts. And then he comes in here, he's got this, and I was like, oh, fuck no, you're the villain. You're so the bad
He's
guy.
acting kind of funny.
Like, you're so the bad guy.
You're definitely Buffy season 2. Like, that's what I'm watching right now.
Wait a second. The thing is this movie actually had a pretty good budget to it, so they kind of fucked it up.
Yeah.
I mean, with the amount of money that they had put into it, it was slightly disappointing.
I don't think anybody really cared. They
Fucking
knew they were there.
Denise Richards.
It was a paycheck. It was a paycheck. Is all it was. And honestly, I think the big failure on this one is you've already got My Bloody Valentine. You got My Bloody Valentine is a beloved classic slasher, the original one from 81 or 82, can't remember. And then you have the remake, it was 3D. So you've got the one that's already established. This thing is like 20 years, past its prime, and so you've already got this. You're going to go head to head with the new Valentine horror film, that's going to try and be like a serious slasher. You can't compete with that. The Miner is a badass villain, big ass pickaxe, fucking killing everybody in just nasty ways with like no fucking motive whatsoever. And then you got this one. I'm a sad emo boy. Oh, now I've grown up and I'm like all hot and shit, but I'm like fucking wounded and shit. So I'm gonna like kill all these girls. What the fuck ever, man? It's just unnecessary.
Take off the fucking
So
mask.
I don't think. That's why I think there aren't a lot of Valentine horror films. There aren't, and I don't think there should be. I think Valentine's Day. You've got My Bloody Valentine, and it doesn't really even focus on that because that dude just cut motherfuckers' hearts out. So, but you've got that one. But Valentine, this movie, I don't think it was just unnecessary. And this is how the subgenre gets a bad name.
It really is, because if you have all these great slasher movies, and then all of a sudden you get somebody who's like, "Hey, let me kind of dive in this genre," and then they see this one first, and they're like, "Well, why do I want to watch all these other ones if this is what all the slasher movies are like?" So keep respect to the slasher genre. Gonna make a slasher film, make it good.
Yes, bring something new to it. Okay,
Yes.
Happy Death Day.
Yes.
This is the shit that we're talking about. Okay, put a twist on it.
Like Halloween.
Okay. Blumhouse knocked that fucking thing out of the park as a continuation of the story. We have that preface. Okay, Valentine was just like, oh, sad person wants revenge.
It was 2001 though. That shit was hot.
Well, it was hot at the time. David Boreanaz was hot. Denise fucking Richards was hot as shit. Katherine Heigl was hot as shit.
Hey, they're all not so bad looking now still. I mean, shit, that was...
Yeah,
Fuck,
it's true. It's true. Well, David Boreanaz is still kicking ass. I actually kind of like his new show, his military show, after he got off Bones.
I really want to see that show.
Yeah,
too.
it's actually not bad. He's born to play that kind of role.
Oh yeah.
But if you really want to see some shit, you got to see him in fucking like The Crow, Wicked Prayer. With like Edward Furlong as the fucking crow and shit. It was like Edward Furlong was a crow. I'm a chubby crow. And then you've got like fucking Tara Reid is like, oh, I'm like the gypsy girl and shit like that. And my badass boyfriend is David Boreanaz. Oh, I'm so dark and shit. I'm fucking evil like every turn. Fuck this shit.
You actually finished that movie?
I did because I was entranced. I was enchanted by Fat Crow. So by Chubby Crow, I had to see.
We need to cast somebody.
This
for
is not
Crow.
Brandon Lee. This is not Eric Mobius. Shoot me in the head. I cannot remember the name of the dude from the second film.
Brandon Lee and then say shoot me in the head.
No, I said Brandon Lee, and then Brandon Lee was the first one, and then Eric Mobius was in Eric Mobius was in the third one. Yeah. But I can't remember who the French dude was in the second film.
Meatloaf.
No. So I can't remember that. But I remember that I was looking at it, I was like, they made a fourth Crow film? Holy shit. It's Edward Furlong as a crow? Isn't he fat? Isn't he? I hate to slight on, I'm a fat guy. But I'm not going to play the fucking crow. Okay? Chubby crow.
Oh, God.
We kind of I went on a fucking Furlong hate there for a second.
Man,
I really did.
I let you go because you had like it was like repressed. Just to let that out.
Look at we got the computer right here. You can see your voice spikes. You're pretty passionate.
David Boreanaz, you'll see dude, shit horror movies. This is where it goes. You get me talking like this. We'll string it along.
Oh, God.
But yeah. Valentine's Day doesn't need any more horror films. So thankfully we haven't gotten any. I think there was it's on Netflix. Is a compilation called Holidays.
Yeah, it's one that's like a horror movie for every like.
Yeah, that's it. And that one actually had a pretty decent one because those were just little short films.
Was that like an anthology?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like it had one for Valentine's Day, it had one for St. Patty's, it had one for 4th of July. Halloween.
4th of July.
Yeah, Halloween,
America,
Thanksgiving,
killing people.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And the Christmas one was good. It had Seth Green in it. The Thanksgiving one was actually written and directed by Kevin Smith. But that one had a Valentine's Day one. It was creepy, but it was short. It was literally like 7 minutes. Done.
I think Valentine's Day is just like a horror movie in general, like in real life, because you have to like, I don't know.
You have to plan
in the
for
movie,
it.
they've got all these people getting together on Valentine's Day and partying and shit. Like, that's just, you can't make a slasher film because they all get fucked up at the party. One person goes missing, somebody goes and looks for him. It's the same shit. But then who gets together on fucking Valentine's Day to party? You're either super fucking depressed at home getting drunk as fuck, or you're spending way too much goddamn money at some fucking shit restaurant that put some candles out on the fucking table.
Yes, nobody has Valentine's Day parties
No.
unless you're in fucking grade school.
I mean, maybe,
Yeah.
I
the
guess,
Valentine's Day dance.
in 2001, but I was like 11, so.
Why are you looking at me? Don't fucking look at me.
You would have been about drinking age. then,
Every
right?
one of our goddamn listeners knows that I'm fucking old.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I had a friend today. It was so
You're
fucked
only
up.
20 years old.
I had a coworker today. Legitimately look me straight in the face. Just look me right in the eye, straight faced. Oh my god! Like the '80s were like 40 years ago. And I'm like, thanks for that. I'm like,
I
thanks
was
so
doing the
much.
math, like, oh, is this one of those like stupid people doing math wrong? But no, that was.
then she- that's correct.
And she was like, well, it used to be like the '80s were like 20 years ago, but now they're like 40 years ago. Well, that's what happens in 2020.
You understand how time works.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Way to
And
go.
I was like, God bless her. I love her. I love her to death. You know, she's absolutely adorable. But I was like, thanks so much for reminding me how fucking old I am. The gray in my beard doesn't do it enough.
You're not old. 40's not old.
40 is
I
the
mean,
new,
with the
40 is the
coronavirus
new
flying
30.
around, I mean, shit, it might be done quick, but
Holy fuck.
God, 40's not bad. Anyways, so back to shitty movies on Valentine's. There's only like 3 Valentine's Day movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a question for our audience. We want to know, what's your favorite holiday horror? Do you like Halloween? Do you like Thanksgiving movies? Thanksgiving was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Fucking turkey.
Let us know in the comments, not only what your favorite holiday to see horror about is, but what your favorite holiday horror movie is. And then we're going to go on to our next movie with Eugene.
All right. So released February 3rd, 1995, directed by John Carpenter, we have the great movie In the Mouth of Madness.
Fuck yes.
Awesome movie starring Sam Neill. There's even an appearance of Charlton Heston in it, kind of thing, along with Julia Carmen in it. And it is awesome, and it takes place, you have a horror novelist, right, goes missing, and an insurance investigator, played by Sam Neill, scrutinizes a claim made by his publisher, and they actually go and try to find out, like, what happened, going over the manuscript and all other parts of it. So it is awesome, though.
You know, with your explanation there, it sounded like a mix between, like, The Haunting of Hill House and Goosebumps.
Yes.
Okay, I fucking love it. Okay, as a filmmaker, I take a lot of my cues from John Carpenter, and the dude is an inspiration to me. Like, I love his fucking, Christine and the various other, Christine was a fantastic one. Assault on Precinct 13. So yeah, I fucking love this movie. I take a lot of my cues from John Carpenter. His movies like Christine, Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China, all of his own. But this particular one's In the Mouth of Madness is the third entry in Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. And that trilogy consists of The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And all 3 of them are Lovecraftian inspired. That's why everybody who listens knows I love Lovecraft. And pardon me. So the Apocalypse trilogy focuses predominantly on, at a time, Carpenter was focused on world-ending themes, cosmic horror, existential dread, stuff like that. And the kicker about In the Mouth of Madness, I think it's the most Lovecraftian of it, because Sam Neill's insurance investigator is hunting down the author of this book, who like rivals Stephen King. His name is Sutter Kane.
Weaving King.
Yeah, like that. So Sutter Kane, like S.K. Yeah, that was the whole thing. It's like S.K. Sutter Kane and Stephen King. That was his tongue-in-cheek joke. But he's hunting down this dude, and it turns out that when he finally does track him down, he tracks him down to this fictional village that should not exist, and then
With him is the girl. The girl that's running with him is kind of like she works for the publisher, and then he's the insurance investigator. It literally turns out that the whole thing was supposed to be like a publicity stunt for Sutter Kane's next book, but it turns out no. Sutter Kane is tapped into some seriously otherworldly shit through his books, and his books end up driving people fucking insane. And the objective of the book is to literally open the gateway between this other dimension where all these fucking monsters are going to come out and start like mutating people and killing people and shit. He's basically trying to end the world by like unleashing the old ones upon the earth. And that's the whole purpose. And Sam Neill discovers that he is not actually real. He is a character that Sutter Kane has created in order to help him with his mission. So and so it goes through this sweet perception shit where all of a sudden he meets Sutter Kane, and Kane's like, I'm controlling you. I've written all of this. You're in my book. We are living this book.
There's a reason you're reading the manuscript.
Yes, right. There's a reason that when you found me in a fictional town that I created in my books. Okay, that's the whole point. Don't you get this? Haven't you gotten this yet? And he's like, no, I'm real. I make my own choices. And they go through this weird fucking perception shit. My favorite scene. He's on the bus. He's trying to escape. He's on this bus. He's like leaving town. And then he starts hearing Sutter Kane in his head. And he's like, I control this reality. I can, what's the matter? You're not happy here? What? You want something different? You want the color blue? And all of a sudden he opens his eyes and like everything is like fucking blue. Okay? And he starts freaking out. The shit is fucking brilliant. He plays with perception and existential dread in that respect. How, what you are is not what you are. And, that whole concept of, everything you see is not what is really there. It's a brilliant fucking movie. The most Lovecraftian of all of it, where the setting was the best. It was existential dread across the board. Unlike The Thing had the monster. And then Prince of Darkness just kind of had the people dealing with the monster. That was more of like an investigatory thing. Whereas In the Mouth of Madness, gory, awesome, fantastic dialogue. Really creepy shit when the chick is walking upside down. She comes out of the car and she's all fucking twisted up and shit. Fucking love that scene. She's like, her head cracks around.
Gets old. You can watch that fucking any movie that you've ever seen that in. It's still just as fucking creepy. It's like It's like the most non-natural. Oh my god, yeah.
You know Hayden Christensen was in that movie?
Where?
Hayden Christensen was the kid on the bike.
Did not know that.
At the very beginning, when they first entered the town, the kid's on the bike, like that. With he has the playing cards of the wheels. It's like this, exactly. And he's like, I can't leave. Oh
my god!
He's stuck on that track. That was Hayden Christensen.
He's so fucking young.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, that was the future.
I can't even.
You are softer than sand, lady. Yeah, there's the future guy who hates sand.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, like you're talking about, with the whole existential dread. Have you ever walked into a room and it just doesn't feel right? Something seems off. You got that whole like, wait a sec. There was the other day even, I was like driving down the road and for whatever reason my brain went into this like, okay, something's not right. And then I was like questioning everything. I recently have questioned my existence. And then I was like, no, everything's fine. But then you never really feel fine. This movie, the whole time, it feels like you walked into a room that you know, but it doesn't feel right. And then, you get into, like, when he starts telling him that you're a made-up character in this book. This is what... He's like, no, but you can... And the acting is great because you can kind of see he's like, well, maybe, and then slowly goes into the blue, and it was like, oh, fuck. Could you imagine just one day somebody was like, you're not real. You're like, yeah, whatever, and you turn around, and there's just like, the world is a different color. You're like, oh...
Well,
the world did end in 2012. But that they really play on the fear of it's the fear of being mad, because like they say, a crazy person wouldn't be like, I'm crazy. They don't know they're crazy. Yeah. But then when they slowly start to put it together, if they're still cognitive enough, it could really fuck you up. I could not imagine being that afraid all the time.
That was the big kickoff, because at the very, very beginning, the opening scene, when they're dragging Sam Neill. I mean, that's how you open the movie. Yeah. You're dragging your main character into an insane asylum and throwing him in a padded room. Okay, that's how you kicked it off. It's like, okay, so our guy's insane. So not only is he crazy and being thrown in this room, and then fucking Glover, John Glover, John Glover, right there in the front, the head dude. So he is so fucking creepy and awesome. Whatever he does, he's just so upbeat and uptight. He's like, he's just like, oh, this is like, and then to throw in Sam Neill in there, Sam Neill's like kicking motherfuckers in the balls and shit, and they throw him in there. It's like automatically you're walking into a situation, you're walking into a story where you automatically have an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right
You've-
off the bat.
Exactly. You've thrown him. It was like, okay, so the first thing we know of this guy, he's fucking crazy. Oh, great, fantastic. So is what we're gonna get. What we're gonna get, and then we kind of follow along that madness and that fucking ending scene. Okay, when he's in the movie theater. So when he was in the movie theater and he's watching everything that happened to him on the deal, and he's
And he
fucking
goes,
flipping out.
What the fuck does he say? It was so funny, but yeah, no. When he first when he's like looking, he's like, "What?" I can't remember what the fuck the line
It
was.
was like, well, the world has ended.
Yeah,
And then he like goes into the movie theater and he like gets some popcorn.
right.
And he sits in the
And
chair.
the
he just
music,
watches
the
music.
music.
And he's like watching the shit that he just went through. Like the movie. He's watching the fucking movie playing on the screen and just starts laughing hysterically and starts freaking out and it's like look, I thought his fucking head was gonna explode. He's laughing so
It's not
fucking hard.
scanners.
But walking down that path, whereas a guy, madness, and then we see him we see his descent, and we see he's completely lost his fucking shit.
And the world ends.
And then,
And then you
yeah,
have no
and
idea
then
where the
that's
fuck
it.
you are because it's a Lovecraft film, and it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, the world ends and then you just watch it.
You're like,
Yeah,
Did you watch it? Yes,
That's it.
exactly.
Exactly.
what do I do now? I'm gonna go do the dishes because everything doesn't make
But
sense.
really recommend anybody who's not seen it, and you can get a real sense of what Carpenter was trying to do. I'm sure any horror fan has seen The Thing. That's like almost required watching. You've seen The Thing. Start with The Thing. I discovered that like not a lot of people have seen Prince of Darkness, which is really fucking good. It actually was really good. And basically, it was about the concept of this being what we consider Satan is trying to break his way into our reality and is driving people crazy and all this other kind of shit. And this group of college students who are not dumb. They're college students, but they're like microbiologists and evolutionary biologists and mathematicians and legitimate smart people. And you get to watch protagonists and their professor. You get to watch legitimate smart people doing legitimately smart things. Okay? Whereas this monster is, the shit is happening to them, but they're dealing with it. It was really well written. Surprisingly, how it's kind of like, well, how would intellectuals deal with the situation? They'll approach it from a scientific perspective. I'm not jumping to conclusions. Yeah, I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't go down that hallway. I just heard a noise. I'm not going to go investigate. And it was like Carpenter wanted to write a story where people were fucking smart. Where people were smart people were just like, oh no, that's not right. And I was like, okay. So, and then there weren't a lot of jump scares. It was impressive. And like, same with The Thing. Smart characters. Smart guys who know what the fuck they're doing. And always good. Always good shit.
It'd be
But
great to see more shit like that.
Yes, we need more stuff like that. I'm tired of like when we were talking about like Valentine earlier, like, oh, my best friend, I know my entire life got killed, and then I'm gonna go on this date and all this other kind of stuff. Like, no big deal, but it's like, let's actually see people like break down and like, let's see characterization, let's see people doing smart decisions. That's why I think like this upcoming decade is gonna be awesome with horror movies. We're getting more of that.
Definitely.
Dude, and you said the next decade, this drop into technology, and they had to kind of wrap up the stupid teenager trope, and now they're moving into something. Go on Netflix and just look at horror.
Yeah.
They're starting to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I credit stuff like Blumhouse. We talked about Blumhouse
Fucking
the other
Blumhouse.
week, to a couple weeks ago, and I credit them, with movies like Happy Death Day and the Conjuring series like that, where you have protagonists who know what they're doing and they're smart and they make smart decisions and they're like they're in extraordinary situations, but they still retain their ability to think critically. And we can identify with that. It was like, you know what? We're not seeing dumb people. We're just seeing really, really smart people dealing with really insane shit.
Yeah, and them trying to process it, but they're processing it in a smart way, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, definitely let us know in the comment section below, what is actually your favorite trilogy? We talked about the Apocalypse trilogy. I know we've talked about several other trilogies on the podcast. So let us know, like, what is your favorite trilogy? And if you haven't seen Prince of Darkness, if you haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness and The Thing, check them out. Definitely check them out.
Definitely. If this is your first time, we'd love to hear what you thought of them, what you think of them. These are old school, awesome films that are just classic. I mean, just classic, horror films. Like The Thing will tell you all about special effects like that, and then Prince of Darkness is all about the acting and the characterization and the plot. And then, of course, In the Mouth of Madness, you can't get better Lovecraft. I don't think you can get better Lovecraft than that one. So
Definitely.
I was actually at the DFW airport, and I was walking by one of the gift shop deals. There was a stack of Lovecraft books like in the window, and it might have been I can't remember. I think I took a picture of it. I'll show you later. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, hey.
We're getting a resurgence, and that makes me really fucking happy because we saw the one that gets me. I mean, I was blown away because you've got shit that came out on Sci-Fi. You got like shit like Dagon. It was kind of like there's a Spanish director out there who fucking loves Lovecraft. He's adapted so much of his shit, most of his crap. But at least he remains consistent, and but he was our only source. But then you've got movies that came out like Black Mountainside, which was so fucking creepy. Oh my god! And then Black Mountainside was an indie film that was so totally Lovecraft. Okay, I mean, I wish I could describe it. All I'll say is like, guys go up in the mountains, find this ancient artifact that shouldn't be there, and shit starts coming fucking undone. Like
Just out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. So that was a brilliant film. Fucking The Void. The Void was the shit. And then of course, then you got like Mandy. Mandy was very Lovecraftian. And then we got The Color Out of Space, which just released this past week. And I am such an idiot. I have not gone to see it yet. I'm going to. I want to see that shit in theaters because something like that with that kind of cinematography, you've got to see that in theaters.
Yeah, because the trailer looks amazing.
Yes,
it does.
I'm still kicking myself for not seeing Doctor Strange in theaters because that should have been like IMAX, huge, giant. Wow, I should have seen that, but I fucking didn't. And
it was fucking amazing.
And I'm sad that I didn't. And of course, I will go see the next one in the Dimensions of Madness. So I will go see that one. But I'm not missing Color Out of Space. So
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in theaters. That was Friday, right?
Yeah, that just came out. Yep.
All right, so trip to the theater coming up.
I was gonna say, what are you guys doing after this?
All right, so what do we got next?
All right, we're gonna shift off to the side. We're gonna go into another crazy area. Really weird shit because I love films like this. February 4th, 1983, the movie Videodrome.
Yes.
So yes, Videodrome, amazing fucking movie. Written and directed by David Cronenberg, who many horror fans should know. For big major hits like The Fly and shit like that. This thing starred James Woods, Sonia Smits, fucking rocker Debbie Harry was in this motherfucker. She had a supporting role. She was actually really fucking good. Debbie Harry of Blondie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Deborah Harry was in it. Peter Dvorsky, Les Carlson, and Jack Creeley were in this bad boy. And this is one twisted fucking movie. If I could describe, I mean, it's difficult. The plot is really simple. The plot is a new form of technology is coming along to allow television audiences to interact with their TV, okay, and make the experience more interactive. And this one television, I guess it was like this production company, this television production company. Think of them of like they were like NBC or CBS or some shit like that. Has this new technology and they're implementing it, but it drives people insane and makes them hallucinate, and they do crazy fucking shit. And James Woods basically finds himself. I think he works for the production company. He works for the studio, and he winds up kind of like in this kind of conspiracy to mind control people, and it goes way off the fucking rails in ways that you will not expect, because this is it can be a very, very intense film.
It can be. And Cronenberg is known for his body horror movies, like you said, The Fly. That was fantastic. Those are all really great movies. I love most of his movies, but this one went in a different direction, and is in such a way that it was so dramatically different than his other stuff. But it played so much into his life.
I have a very confused erection right now.
I know, yeah, it was so weird, and it was
I don't know
just
what to do with this.
I would say I would agree, and I would say this is probably one of his best films. Only because it takes everything he's ever done and just throws it in a different direction and says, I'm going to try something new, and he fucking nailed it. And like you said, when people start going crazy and then you get into the mind control stuff, and the whole time you're like, what? Yeah, I think this is probably one of Cronenberg's best.
It was. I remember the first time I watched it, and at first it's kind of like you get to certain scenes, and the scenes just kind of drop on you. Because there's exposition, and you have these moments, and then all of a sudden, this. It was like, oh yeah, James Woods talking to this one dude about this signal that he's come across, and there's all this torture and like this. So he's talking. This is just exposition scene. Oh, by the way, you have a stomach vagina, and I'm putting in this fucking this squirming Betamax tape. I'm gonna shove it in your fucking gut, and I'm like,
What the fuck am I watching?
Just straight up out of nowhere,
The
too.
way
No,
that
no warning.
No, yeah, no. It was just,
I have a weird boner right now. I'm very confused.
I want to touch it.
But I don't.
And that's one thing about the movie, because a lot of times, like a lot of movies, you can see the gore coming. You know, the guy's chasing with the chainsaw, and all of a sudden the girl like trips and she rolls over, and she's like, ah!
She's dead.
Now you get gore. This is just out of nowhere. Like, here, I'm gonna insert a tape inside of you.
Like, yeah, what the fuck? All right, I'm going to take you over, but first we're going to go through this really weird process. Just sit still. Take it.
He fucking outdid himself, and he brought on fucking legend Rick Baker is who handled the effects for this film.
Yeah, so Rick Baker, he was the one that did the effects for American Werewolf in London.
Fuck
that
yes.
like iconic transformation scene, which I won an Oscar, I believe, right, for makeup effects. And so he brought on a lot of his, same thing with a lot of his team. And so for a couple of scenes, things such as like the TV screen, right, when TV screen starts like stretching out and
So
stuff like
fucking
that.
weird. He's like sticking his face in it.
Yeah, like getting bent. They actually tried a couple things like weather balloons and all sorts of kind of stuff, and like it wasn't working. So they actually got like a rubber dental dam and put a sheet on top of it, and then had a projector projecting onto the sheet to get that stretchiness on top of it, kind of
wild.
thing.
So not only did they just fucking hit every sort of weird shit in the movie, but they used all the weird shit in the special effects.
In the
Oh,
special,
they did like a reverse of Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy was doing the through the latex wall like that. They kind of did a
Exactly.
reverse of that. Oh, neat. Okay, very cool.
yeah, so they did that. They also had it to get like the breathing effect. They actually had an air compressor attached to a piano. And so when he had a key on the piano, it would just psst with the air compressor, and you get the breathing effect on it
Oh,
too.
fucking
What
sweet.
the fuck, man?
Like, I don't even know like
How much cocaine did these motherfuckers do? Dude, what do you think about this? Grab the piano and
See,
the
now
air
I get
compressor.
that because
Follow
he had
me.
that because when the villain, I can remember he has that fucking Betamax. I remember Betamax was the only VHS cassettes. VHS cassettes were actually too big.
Yeah.
like they couldn't fit. It was like, oh, this no. So they went with Betamax, and then fucking Betamax tape is in his hand and it's like fucking pulsating and breathing and shit. And now I'm seeing that they most likely because they did a full view, like boom, here it is in his hand. And they probably they had it running up his jacket sleeve, and they had it into the back of the tape, and they ran it up his sleeve and probably down towards the back, and it was off camera where they
Right.
could sit there and then control the puppetry.
afterwards.
Exactly.
But
there
I mean,
you go.
Going back to we talked about before, like practical effects. Like it needed now something. Oh well, we can just CG this, CG that. But actually going through, like, hang on, air compressor, piano, dental dam, bed sheet, compressor. Like, let's make a movie.
Can you fucking imagine the assistants on that set? And they're like, go give me this shit. And they're like, fuck, Rick Baker's coming, isn't he?
I did read that Baker came up. Now Cronenberg. I mean, you look at shit like The Fly. Jeff Goldblum's
God,
descent
yeah,
like this.
yeah.
Like blah, jaw coming off, and blah, he's a big monster. And then you look at stuff like Prey. The chick had the parasite that was like coming out of her and like was eating people and shit, turning them into zombies. But at this one, Baker apparently came up with effects that Cronenberg that Cronenberg himself thought were too extreme. He's like, no, we can't do this. Like, it's like, it's like, what is Cronenberg's line? The slimy breathing Betamax I'm going to shove into your stomach vagina. Okay. But what's more, it was like, what
tummy pussy.
What the fuck, in your tummy pussy? And then, but Baker came up with shit that was like made Cronenberg go, no, that's not gonna work.
They actually like commented on as like it was too graphic, so it didn't make it into the movie. But the key words were flesh gun, eyes, mouth, and foreskin.
Like all in one.
Yeah, like
situation.
one thing.
No, that's wrong.
Dude, what happened to you? I got shot in the eye
With foreskin
coming out of a flesh gun. Wait. The gun was made out of flesh? Dude, I don't know.
I don't fucking know, dude.
It was like Cronenberg's like,
I don't know. Baker was there. Oh, Baker was there. Okay,
yeah. Push it, Baker. I want you to come up with the most sick thing. I came up with this. Okay, man, we got to talk.
We need to pull back a little bit.
Yeah,
Just get a little too extreme. Right, okay.
It's like he just ate a bunch of mushrooms, went into a fever. He's like, I'm going to eat all these mushrooms and go to sleep. I'm going to have a fever dream. When I wake up, take notes, okay? Hold on.
No, they had that.
Flesh gun.
They had that fucking scene when his hand like mutates into. He has the gun and his hand like mutates over to like it becomes like this I don't even know how
It's
to
a flesh
fucking-
gun.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to fucking
That's a
describe
flesh
it. It
gun.
was so fucking gross. But such a creepy goddamn film. And I think the way Cronenberg captured it, and of course James Woods in his classic, you know, weird, manic, halfway to Nick Cage
That dude is so
kind of thing. I love James Woods, and I think he's a fantastic actor. But he was just, he was like, it looked like he was legitimately, the actor was so fucking freaked out by what Cronenberg and Baker were doing, and we get to see, I'm not watching an out character, I'm watching James Woods actually reacting to all the shit that's going on around here. This is fucking weird.
They're just like, we're gonna bring something out, right? Just react to it. Just like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Oh my god!
He left there and was like, I'm going to Family Guy.
So definitely, anybody who's not seen Videodrome, we strongly recommend it, but definitely go into it knowing that, confusing erections will follow.
Smoke a shitload of weed before.
And it's really intense. So, but as far it arguably is probably Cronenberg's finest. I would say it is his finest work, where he was really on point with his vision. And I say that because The Fly was a remake, and he just wanted to put his gory spin on The Fly itself. So this one was his vision. This was something that Cronenberg wrote. It's what he wanted to do, and it's just an amazing entry into his filmography. But body horror, body horror is terrifying. It's scary for a number of reasons. So what we want to know to our audience, what is your favorite body horror movie? Maybe it's something from Cronenberg, maybe it's something from somebody else. There's a lot of body horror out there, stuff like Contracted, Teeth. We talked about, I think, the other week, a couple weeks ago. Very shit like that. There's a ton out there. What is your favorite? We'd like to know what body horror you love. Just put it in the comments below. And, we'll probably hear some really fucked up shit.
Dick Shark.
Dick Shark. Okay. For the audience. I was recently shown, and I wasn't, I'm usually Johnny on the fucking spot when it comes to horror movies. I really am. But I was just shown a trailer for a movie I did not know existed, starring an actress that I'm actually familiar with. Her name, she goes by Misty Monday. She does a lot of softcore. She does horror, but she does a lot of softcore shit too. So she shows her tits and stuff like this. She's classic sexploitation actress. She's really, really cute. She's actually got some talent, and I've seen some of her stuff. She was in Masters of Horror. I knew her from that.
Clearly at the top of your Pornhub search history.
But why am I laughing like a goof? It's like,
That wasn't a no.
No, I'm not denying that. But, I've just shown I've seen this trailer called Dick Shark, where a man uses penis cream to make his dick malleable, and he molds it into a shark, like a fucking great white.
What was the line?
And then, what did he fucking say?
It was like guild for her pleasure.
Guild for her pleasure was the line.
And then they said,
And then the fucking thing falls off, as it would. His dick falls off into the toilet, and then it swims the fuck away down the drain and starts killing people.
yeah.
So, I grew up with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes
Yeah.
and Trauma. Toxic Avenger, Nuke 'em High and shit like that.
Trauma.
I have never seen, and I've seen some bad horror movies. This is fucking weird.
This is a new level.
This is a new level. Dick Shark.
I've watched a lot of shit that made me feel weird. I don't know if I'd be able to be like, okay, even in my own house alone watching this and like being able to come out being like, yeah, I'm a normal person.
I mean, it's like,
What did they say in the thing? He's like, the women are going to be the one asking you to not use teeth.
it's. I don't fucking know.
Oh, it's great.
That's one of those films, like, somebody walks in, and they're like, what the fuck are you watching? And you would rather... Nothing at all. Like, you would rather it just be porn. Like, that
Why
would be
can't you
better.
watch porn like a normal person? But Dick Shark. His dick is a shark.
And not only is...
How does he fucking pee?
It's not only... He doesn't, because it falls off.
What the fuck?
There's a 3-hour cut of this movie. There's like the normal 1-hour cut, but there's a 3-hour cut to this
That's
movie.
too much Dick Shark.
That
I don't
is.
know.
That's the same length as, like, Lord of the Rings.
Dick Shark, the Peter Jackson cut.
With director commentary. Yeah, so I was just really fucking drunk one day, and I was like, dude, what if your dick was a shark?
You could make a Dick Shark movie.
And now it's like a 3-hour fucking film with Misty Monday. Who funds this shit? It's Misty
I
Monday.
will admit, Misty was fucking hot in that trailer. That girl is. She just keeps getting sweeter. She's thick in all the right ways. That girl is tasty. I have often said, and there's a similarity there. There's similar in the face. She is what would happen if Abigail Breslin took like a wrong turn. if Abigail Breslin made the wrong career move, that is what she would be.
I showed my tits in a movie once, and now here I am.
It's kind of like Taylor Swift plus a bottle of Jack equals Kesha. It's like,
oh shit. I've never heard that analogy. That's nice.
It makes sense now. I can't unsee that.
Damn it. All right, I'm gonna let you finish.
Oh, but yes, let us know in the comments, man. So let's move on to the next one. We got a really good one. Alex, what do we got?
Hey, I really like this one. We've got February 5th, 1988, The Serpent in the Rainbow. This movie was directed by the late and great Wes Craven, featuring Bill Pullman, Kathy Tyson, Paul Winfield, Brett Jennings, and I'll never pronounce this guy's name right. He was the henchman dude. Zake Smokey might be the way that you say it. This film was based in 1985, and it follows Dr. Allen, played by Bill Pullman, a ethnobotanist. He goes around the world collecting herbs and medicines, finding new remedies for stuff. At the beginning of the movie, he ends up in a grave, and he's alive, and he's like, "Don't let him bury me. I'm not dead." And so it goes into the story where the company called BioCorp. All right.
That sounds like a legit company right there.
But then again, But so yeah, BioCorp finds out about this this mysterious case where this guy dies and gets buried and comes back to life. And Bill Pullman, or Dr. Allen, is sent to Haiti to investigate the whole situation and try to find out, what this thing was, get it so that they can, essentially bring it back and make some money off of it. So he goes into Haiti, and he comes across a lot of, like, voodoo bullshit. And this, I'm gonna veer off here. I love this movie because it hits on so many tropes and so many phobias, and it's just done so well. And like, you get through like halfway through the movie, and it's like, okay, it's gonna yay, woo, and then they're like, oh, just kidding, get the fuck back there. And I just love this movie. This is great. I love the voodoo aspect. And he goes to Haiti, and they find the zombie guy, and they find out who makes this powder that turns these guys into zombies. And then he has to there's so many. I keep thinking about the scene when he walks through the door to go down the stairs and ends up like going up. His legs are in here. He's like, what the fuck? And then he falls down the ceiling, I guess, technically. But yeah, this is a great movie. If you've never seen this is another one that has a 3-hour cut that I cannot find, and I need to find it because I need to know what goes on, because Wes Craven had this whole idea, and he said he cut it back because there was too much like dialogue, it was too much talky. But I would love to see the rest of that because the story was so cool.
Oh, definitely.
And the way that they shot it.
I'm trying to imagine. So yeah, I love how you touched on that as for a horror film, it had all the tropes.
It's every
like that.
It's
got
phobias.
snake phobias, being buried alive, being out of control of your own body,
being desolated, and like just being like alone, like the buried alive thing.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing you can do. You feel helpless. They hit everything in this. Wes Craven nailed this movie. Sorry, I'm fanboying over this one. I love this movie. When I saw this on here, I was like, oh my god, yes, I'm going to go watch it for the 10th time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I love that. It so fits in Craven's oeuvre because he's... The man was brilliant, but I'd honestly believe, just if you look at his films, Nightmare on Elm Street, that entire series, the movie They, okay? Mm-hmm. The Serpent in the Rainbow, The People Under the Stairs. His films... really, so much of his early work focused so much on the terrors of sleep and being asleep and nightmares and being out of control of things and otherworldly powers being in control of your shit and sneaking up on you and stuff like that and past shit coming to bite you in the ass. Whereas that even comes into this play where Bill Pullman is haunted by the shit, his own baggage that he brings into it and brings into all this, and his I would say his skeptical and rigorously rational mind comes back to haunt him because he's the harder he fights against it, the more he gets hit by it. And so it's such an intense film, and the way
Craven creates these these kind of, I would say, landscapes, these hallucinatory landscapes.
Yeah, some kind of like a scarescape. I can't think of a better word.
Scarescape. I like that. Scarescape.
Yes,
He creates these scarescapes for his characters to run around in, and just how he approaches that is always so brilliant and always so new for every film he does.
And like he capitalizes on it's just this little niche in horror where it came out in 1988, where you just had this. It was like this supernatural, like fantasy style, like horror. We already talked about a couple already, where you just have this kind of fantasy like element to it. And so the fact that it touches on all these different phobias, but at the same time, it utilizes that kind of that French, that Cajun feel to it, which I've always loved the art direction. Like you see so many few films that touch on like the New Orleans style, like background. We see zombies all over the place, but zombies like that. I wish we would actually see more of that.
Like the voodoo culture, and the concept of bokors and stuff like that, and how it's it just derived off Christianity, and the notion that there's similarities in there, but it's kind of Christianity with more ritual and stuff taken from Africa that came out of Africa, and then out of Haiti and the Caribbean Isles. Obviously, it follows the religion came with with the slave trade and everything like that, but it kind of these nuanced things as those ships came into New Orleans, which is why New Orleans also has that kind of background in that Creole, the Creole background, where pretty much if you just trace it all the way back, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper into the Haitian voodoo and hoodoo kind of like sub religions, because I know they're still practiced today, but really really tight niche groups that are still island. They're basically island based, so really really intense shit.
That's the whole. Okay, so just going back on like the trope thing too. You get the Haitian trope when they like go and talk to the zombie guy. This is like it's a zombie in the sense that he died and he came back to life, but like they're talking to him, and so they play off of like you got the visual aspects of the movie, but then like in that moment when they're talking to the guy, and he's like, "So how does it work?" And he's like, "It's a powder. It's poison. It breathes into your skin." And it's like, oh, fuck, dude, I got chills. Like, listen to that fucking dead, risen dude. It's like, yeah, dude, you died, but you came back to life. And he's like, yeah, but it's fucking black magic. You don't fucking want it. Then, they go talk to Mozart, the dude that created it. And when they go back and then, yeah, it was just like, okay. But so you get that fear of like, I guess there's like, you see this, okay, there's a zombie, like, whoa, that's crazy. But then it touches on stuff like snakes, and then it puts you in a small room. And then it's like, okay, and then you get into the whole voodoo, which you don't see a lot of. Like, you're talking about this New Orleans stuff. You've been to New Orleans, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, you'll see all, like, the voodoo shops and stuff.
I love the
But sometimes you'll come around a corner, and there is just a situation that you're seeing, like, whoa, that's some actual shit that I probably shouldn't be looking at. But they're like, no, come here. And you're like, I'm going to go get hammered on Bourbon Street.
That is something scary. That's the scene. That one particular scene has always unnerved me. Is somebody walking up at you and blowing shit in your face.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Okay, and at first you're kind of like, what the fuck, and like that, but you have no idea what you just fucking breathed in, and like that, and that. I've always been kind of like, oh, that would so freak me out, because you turn around and it's like, whew, and it's like, oh shit, okay.
Too late.
You're already fucked. You're already fucked.
Well, it's either anthrax or LSD. I don't know.
But the crazy thing, that's what which makes Serpent the Rainbow so fantastic, is that the movie was based on a book also titled The Serpent and the Rainbow, and
what?
The book was the legitimate experience of this guy who went in. What was his name again?
Dr. Allen?
Yeah, who went down to Haiti to investigate an actual zombie case, like an actual. There was reports that came out of this guy, and this is a real dude who went down there.
They put in the Max Brooks zombie survival guide.
Yeah, exactly.
Was in
and
that too.
He so this guy apparently died. This gentleman's name was Clairvius Narcisse, and he supposedly died. Was buried. They had a ceremony. Then I think 3 or 4 days later, he was spotted walking around the town in a kind of trance-like state, where it's kind of like, and he remained like that for the rest of his life until he died in 1994.
Could you imagine being the fucking like gravedigger and like you watch this guy going, you're leaning on your shovel, you watch him get put in, you bury him, you like walk into the store the next day, he walks by, you're like, oh hey. Hey.
What?
Yeah. And it was just like, So it was Wade Davis. It was Wade Davis who went down there to investigate it, and what he pretty much derived. This is where we get the idea of the tetrodotoxin, and datura, which are two powerful poisons. And there were also other elements apparently that were mixed into the concoction that made Clairvius a zombie in the voodoo definition. There were other ingredients that could not be identified, but those are the two major ones. Tetrodotoxin, we know, it comes from the pufferfish. The Japanese eat it as fugu, and that one can slow your metabolic rate down to a crawl. It can, you literally go it can slow your heart down to like a beat per minute, like 1 beat per minute. Like your blood pressure just like bottoms out, and it keeps you in a kind of like a paralytic state where you're just kind of like. And people have often been mistaken for being dead, okay? Because their oxygen, they're breathing so shallow you can't tell that they're breathing, and if they get too much tetrodotoxin, they'll die because their diaphragm will paralyze, they'll suffocate to death. But in this case, you take just a little bit, you can knock them down, and they're still alive. They're still aware. Okay, they're there. It's just it's like locked in syndrome. Okay, and then the other one was datura, which was a deliriant. Okay, which actually helps to make people more suggested to hypnosis and behavioral conditioning. Okay, so you take something as strong as voodoo. Everybody believes in the culture. Everybody follows it in various forms, but it's such a strong prevailing belief structure. And then you have everybody is conditioned into the state. Then you have these doctors, they do this crazy shit to you. They blow the shit in your face. Now they've paralyzed you like this. You've got everything going through your head, and he's doing all these rituals with the chicken feet and shit. And you're aware, but you can't do anything. And then they fucking bury your ass. Okay? And then, they say you can come out, and all of a sudden you're kind of like, but by that point, he's hypnotized you, he's behaviorally conditioned you, he's fucked you up. You're basically his slave now, which is what the intention is of the evil Bokor, to do that, to raise people and take their souls and shit. And it's really intense fucking stuff. And I don't think enough horror is done.
You know what I just correlated? I'm sorry, when you were talking about when he blows shit in their face, I just correlated bards with witch doctors. Just in the way that they're just walking around all happy fucking now you're fucking paralyzed. Oh my god.
I just saw toss a coin to your witcher in a different way. Oh, Carol.
Have a coin. Just kidding, it was fucking powder. Now you're dead.
But yeah, I don't think we get enough voodoo. God, no. I don't think we get enough voodoo as horror.
We really don't, because I think some of it has to do with, first of all, the art direction behind it is extravagant, right off the bat, kind of thing. You have to. I saw a horror short a couple years ago where they did a voodoo thing, and it was a huge production with a sacrifice and all this other kind of stuff, and the makeup effects on it were awesome. They built this huge bonfire, and I mean this is a little short film, and they had 15 people in full body makeup and all this other kind of stuff. So the art direction on top of it, and then second of all is the culture on it. You don't want to misrepresent it anyway, because a lot of that shit we don't know. I don't want to be hey, I'm gonna make a voodoo movie, and then some witch doctor's no, you're not.
So you know what, that actually opens up a good point for our audience. Voodoo in horror movies. Is there a reason that there is not so many voodoo horror movies? Could that be the reason? Because people are afraid to make voodoo horror movies and then go home and, their eyeball just fucking falls out because somebody's you fucked with the wrong people. But that's the question for the audience. Why do you think there's not very many voodoo horror movies, and would you like to see more? And if somebody out there knows why that's not touched on very, very often, let us know.
Definitely.
You know what? Let's roll into our last movie with Eugene.
All right, so we got one more movie for everybody out there, right? It came out February 8th, 1980, directed by, once again, the great John Carpenter, who, we've already talked about. And the movie is The Fog, right?
You like what I did there with roll into the next movie and it was The Fog? Add Foley.
Our editor listening. I don't know why I just pointed at the mic. No one can see what I'm doing. I still talk with my hands. But we have Jamie Lee Curtis, we have Janet Leigh, Tom Atkins, we have Nancy Loomis, right? We have Adrienne Barbeau.
Adrienne Barbeau.
Barbeau.
Yeah.
Make sure I pronounce that right, because I know I butcher a lot of these names.
She was Carpenter's wife at the time. She was married to Carpenter at the time.
For how long?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up how long the two of them were married, but yeah, they were.
Could have been very long.
No, I think they were
Wow.
actually. I think they were married for a minute. They were married from 79 to 84.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I guess that would be a long time to today's standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can be true. See, we learn something new when we do that, right? And I also like to do a shout out to the cinematographer Dean Cundy, who's one of my favorites, who went on to do like Jurassic Park and stuff like that.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Badass cinematographer, right? And so the fog takes place in a Californian coastal town, right? As they get ready for the 100th year anniversary of some supernatural stuff going out there. This is what happens when I can see them in the studio.
Sorry.
An object starts springing to life, right? And you have a reverend who stumbles upon a dark secret about the town's founding, and they start going into, once they start seeing mutilated bodies, fishermen start washing corpses, and a fog descends on the town, and people start to die.
Hey, look, a dead body. Hey, look, another dead body. Hey, look, some fog.
Hey, this can't possibly be a horror
Little did
movie.
he know.
This way, I mean, this movie was fucking amazing. Arguably, I think this was Carpenter's 5th best film. I think it was.
I would like to know 1 through 4.
I think
I really will. I want to see this whole list.
Like it was like his top grossing film, just money wise. I think it was his 5th.
Oh, okay.
fifth highest
I thought you
grossing
meant
film.
like
No.
in year film.
No.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this was like his 5th most commercially successful movie. It was at the time it was original. Now the Stephen King novella, The Fog, the Mist was already out, and so I think there might have been some cross contamination where people
Same
heard.
year?
I don't think it was him. I think The Mist was released a little bit before that. But then The Fog came out, and I think there may have been some cross-contamination where people said, oh, there was this. It's like, oh, The Fog, interesting. But it turned out to not be anything like that. It's completely different. Although there are monsters in The Fog, they're not like, Stephen King monsters, like just, demons and shit.
Mhm.
But everything all they did, an absolute capitalization, everything that Carpenter is good at. He was young, he had vision. He had this really sweet setup where you get this small little coastal town. Very Lovecraftian in that respect. Small coastal town. This unspeakable evil is sweeping, and nobody can really see it. It's only in the fog. And there's these, and I don't want to spoil too much about like that, but these things are in the fog. They're killing people. People are winding up dead. And Alex is pulling up for me. So
It was published in 1980.
it was published in
Oh,
1980.
yeah, same year. Okay.
Same year. So it was same year. I thought it was before that. I thought Mist was like 78. But
You think Carpenter and Stephen King were like sitting in a room talking about?
No, I
shit?
think
Then they both
Carpenter.
went home and wrote a fucking
I think
book?
Carpenter saw it. I think Carpenter read King and was kind of like, "Hey, a movie like where monsters are in the mist. Well, I call it The Fog and make the monsters different." So, but his setup was brilliant. The cinematography was fantastic. He handles the score. He does his own composition. You've got Adrienne Barbeau as the radio, as kind of like the town radio host who handles like the radio for the town, and she's kind of like the overarching, not really a narrator, but she's constantly giving weather updates, like the fog is coming in. Oh, it's heading over here, and people are like listening, and everyone in town listens to her. So he's got this kind of like overarching narrator of what's going on. Then you got the people on the ground. You got fucking Tom Atkins, horror legend. You got Jamie fucking Lee Curtis. You got her mom, Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh was in this shit.
Mhm.
Both of them are mother-daughter
Yep.
combination in there, and then a host of other people who are just excellent. I don't think he's landed. Oh, well, I know. I'd say The Thing would probably be comparable as far as casting-wise goes, as far as a group of people who were so excellent together. But yeah, this was, this is best. Of course, those shots of the fucking fog coming in off the ocean, because it starts out in the ocean, and then there's a fishing boat out there, and the fog rolls in. All the guys, the fishermen are like, what the fuck is this? Like, then all of a sudden they start disappearing off the boat, and then you got this wall of fog that's rolling in off the ocean. It's got this weird green tint to it and shit, and starts coming in, and then all of a sudden people start seeing shapes walking around in the mist. And you're like, what the fuck? And it's like a combination revenge tale. You don't, and then you find out who you thought was the bad guys aren't really the bad guys.
Just something with the town.
Brilliant shit. There was a
Yeah.
little bit of a twist in there, and it was really subtly done. Unlike that fucked up remake.
Well, Why would you say fucked up remake?
Because that remake was fucked up. That remake was just dumb, unnecessary. Tom Welling, take your fucking ass back to Smallville. You shouldn't have done this movie.
Now, I used to have a best friend that lived across the street with, I want to say, God-fearing parents, but I think in the way, not like they were like these devout Christians, but I think they were like literally terrified of God. And so they were like super overprotective, but God, I probably shouldn't say that. They were listening. Sorry, guys. But seriously, like, everything was very, very sheltered over at that house. Mm-hmm. And this movie was actually one of the first horror movies I ever, I say horror with quotes around it for those not looking at me like I'm just fucking...
It's hard not to do that. Yeah.
I know, yeah.
We can see you.
I know. We need to get a camera in here somewhere. But so, this was one of the first horror movies I ever saw. And it was like, they always let us do, like, the most obscure shit over there. It was always like, watch The Simpsons, and we were like, 8, 9 years old, and so then we watched the Fog movie, and so, I mean, yeah, from that aspect, it was like, oh my god, I'm watching a horror movie, but seeing it as an adult now, I could agree, it was probably one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen, but only because I know the original now, and in the original, there was the story about the town, and like you said, it was the revenge plot, and it was, there was a story behind it, and then in the remake, it was just kind of like, hey, look, fuck, there's fucking pirates walking around, and where's the treasure? Like, wait a second, what is going on here? Like,
why are there pirates?
Hold on, now they're like, the footsteps on the fucking seal. Like, what? Yeah, it was shit, dude.
Cash grab.
It wasn't even a cat. I don't even think it did very well.
And I think it was I think you mentioned earlier, we were talking about it earlier.
The story they don't line up.
Carpenter found this really brilliant balance where the big twist was that the townspeople are not the good guys.
Yeah. No, they are not.
They are the bad. They are the bad guys. Yes, but we do not see that there's nobody in the town that is overtly bad.
No.
Okay, there are no villains. It's not like the villainous mayor, who refuses to close the beach and then the shark eats everybody. There's not shit like that.
It was a city secret.
It was a town secret that they all had buried and they wanted to forget and they wanted to get on with their lives. Pardon me. And so the remake fucking it was like, okay, you're a villain. You're a villain. Oh, your dumbass is definitely a fucking villain. Okay? And so why are the good guys from this town? Like, all of you are bad. Okay? And then people start dying. It's like, well, of course you're gonna die. You're all fucking bad people. Oh, okay. So, and it dumbed it down. It took a really neat concept, and you have better technology. You have all these effects that you can do. You've actually got some decent talent in there. You got Maggie White. You got
Maggie White was pretty good in that.
And then you got Tom Welling, and you got a smattering of others. It could have been so much better, and it wasn't. It was just like, you dumbed down the storyline. You made it obvious. And Selma Blair, and Selma, I'm sorry, Selma Blair, I love you, babe. You're no Adrienne Barbeau. You're not. And Adrienne Barbeau's got that sultry, husky voice that comes over that radio, and she is bad fucking. She is still fucking badass to this day.
Rebecca works with Selma Blair, so she should probably.
I mean, it was awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
They spent way too much fucking time making it obvious as to what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
It was just, they spent way too much. And then there was I think there was the family that had just moved in and they had no idea what was going on, and the whole town. And it was like, no, yeah, exactly. They spent way too much time talking. Mm-hmm. And then with all the fucking footprint on the fuck off.
Yeah, because what he does is, instead of having, good people paying for the sins of the past, which can be an interesting concept, because let's say you have people in the past, we're going to do bad stuff, and it haunts our kids, you get a conflict there. Do we continue on with this, even though our kids will pay for it? Can they handle it? Or something like that, or generations ahead handle this, instead of everybody's bad, they just deserve to die.
Yeah.
Like that.
Then you get the epic scene. You get the epic scene where we find out that, with the priest realizes what is happening. He's like, oh my god, we can't. This is going to keep fucking happening because the fog rolls in with the centennial, with the town's 100th anniversary, and then the fog rolls in. The priest is the only one who's like, we've got to make peace with this. We've got to deal with this. We can't just can't keep denying this secret. We actually have to deal with this because we're all gonna fucking die if we don't. And then he has that scene when he's in the church and they're at the door and they come to the door and then it's like that wide shot with the fucking missiles and they're all standing there and you can see their fucking eyes glowing in the mist and shit. And the priest has got to come to terms with that. It was like, yeah, we did this. This is our legacy. We've got to handle that shit. And so well fucking done. And then the remake just fucked it up. I don't know why they couldn't. I know they wanted to try and take another spin on it, but I think they just thought audiences were dumb and just couldn't deal with it. I don't know.
Audiences can be smart. They can, Hollywood.
Yes.
Audiences can think.
What?
Just letting you know.
And then they take The Mist that was written the same year as
Don't
movie.
start. Don't start. I already went off once. That's stupid. I already went off once.
And so this actually brings us to our question here. What is your favorite horror movie about the past returning, where people have done something in the past, and it could be generations, or maybe something like I Know What You Did Last Summer, where they did something and then a year later it comes back, kind of thing. What is your favorite movie that people did something in the past and have to pay for it in the future?
Nightmares like that too. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, because
like
the family.
The past is coming back.
I mean,
to
the whole
kids,
town,
yep.
kind of thing like that. So let us know what our favorite movie.
Justified.
Yeah, he was a bad guy to begin
No,
with.
he was a bad dude. He was a child murderer.
That's what I'm saying. It was justified that they burned his fucking house down.
Well, yeah,
Or
but
burned him in the fucking...
Yeah, well, justice technically wasn't served because he went to trial, he went through the system, he was released on technicality, and they took revenge into their hands. They went outside the laws of justice, and even though he's a bad guy, because he died in an unjust way, he got to come back
So you're
and
telling
take his
me, as a
revenge.
father, if this happened to me and then I took the law into my own hands, then I gotta worry about my kids getting fucking murdered in their dreams?
Maybe
That's why you got to prep them ahead of time.
training.
Yeah, training.
You got a hand of that shit.
I gotta go.
like Halloween style, the remake.
Yes,
Lexi!
you gotta have that house. You just be prepared.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
So, Eugene, we got one more. That was all of our movies, but we got one more thing. We got something kind of big.
Yes. So I know
It's not my dick shark.
it's just killed for her pleasure.
And it was fucked up because the dick shark is like there's a big like a close up shot of the thing hanging out of his pants. It wasn't even that big. The shit was like fucking 4 inches.
Yeah.
If you can make your dick malleable, don't you think you'd give it a little fucking oomph?
Yes, give it some size.
Like, seriously.
Something.
Do something.
Yeah, with it.
And then it'd fall... I don't know.
Yeah, and then
Why do I feel like we're all gonna go to bed feeling really weird tonight because we watched Dick Shark after this?
because
The fucking thing fell off in the toilet and swam away. What the fuck ever. I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out a segue to this from Dick Shark to In Memoriam.
Sorry, we got a big one.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a big one.
Yeah, we do have a big one though. So we have In Memoriam with a birthday, right? And it's a big one. This is why he's the only one we're going to talk about, because I know we can talk about him for an entire day. But George A. Romero, born February 4th, 1940, and he passed away July 16th, 2017. And this is the Night of the Living Dead icon, the modern zombie. It is hard to find somebody who has influenced horror more than him. I mean, his reach is just out there. He started the successful low budget horror film. You wouldn't have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you wouldn't have Halloween, you wouldn't have Nightmare on Elm Street, Tobe Hooper, John Carpenter, Wes Craven. You wouldn't have any of those. All of them took inspiration from Night of the Living Dead. Every single one of them
That was
did.
1968.
1968. It was his. I think it was his college thesis film.
You think about how fucking
Could you imagine?
how fucking progressive George Romero was. 1968. The man is in college. He does this low budget horror film of the dead coming back to life. No explanation as to why. And then they start attacking the living, and his lead is a black dude. Now, he's Romero was progressive in all the things he did. He satirized and attacked social norms, capitalism, racism, gender inequality. All these things were major deals that, and then with zombies, and just the vision to do that and be like, you know what, fuck your social norms. Our hero is going to be a black dude. He's going to save the fucking day, and then he's going to die at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's how fucked up your goddamn world is.
This is how we're gonna.
You know, that's brilliant. I mean, just
He's just trying to crush social norms.
the vision of the man. You know,
Yeah.
I felt so bad. I had an opportunity to meet him. I was talking to Alex and Eugene about this. I actually had the opportunity. I almost met him. I know. I was doing journalism work for Cinelinks, and I was at Texas Frightmare weekend, and I had, it was kind of my off time, so I'd spent a bunch of money. You met the Boondock Saints, met Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, and all these other cats, and then realized, oh shit, George Romero was here. I was like, well, wait a minute, George Romero has been here before, and I really, it was like, oh, I don't really have enough. I have to get gas. I had to save money, so I didn't take the time to spend the money to go get his autograph and talk to him, and actually, bend his ear for a few minutes. And that was I think that was in 2012, and little did I know I would stop doing, TFW stopped taking us in as press, so I couldn't go there as press anymore, and because that was my way in, that was my entrance, and I was able to spend money elsewhere. I couldn't afford to, cover the ticket with all the access that press had and do that, so I wasn't able to go to TFW anymore. And 5 years later, he passed away in 2017, and I saw him. I saw him in person, but I kicked myself forever that I never got a chance to sit or talk to him, and actually get meet him and bend his ear for a minute, because that would have been awesome. That would have been amazing.
That would have been so cool. Just chat with him.
Man, he would have been in his 70s.
Yeah, but still spry. I mean, he had so much energy.
Oh,
He had
yeah.
so much energy.
You see him in videos and stuff, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" Like,
He was
start a
fucking
YouTube
amazing.
channel.
And his film, I mean, the films that he came up with, I mean, you're looking at, there are 5 films in his Dead series, in his Living Dead series. You got Night of the Living Dead, you have Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and then Survival of the Dead, and then Diary of the Dead. So there are 5 in that. And then he did other kinds of things, like he did The Crazies. The Crazies was fucking cool.
That was great.
The remake, the 2010 remake.
Oh, that
good.
was brilliant.
Yes.
Oh, so fucking good.
Shit, yeah, that was one of the best remakes I've ever seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, Timothy Oliphant, Rhoda Mitchell, and just that, that whole thing. And it was so pleased because Glenn Morshower, who is a local actor who I know pretty well. Glenn Morshower was in that. He was the government dude. He always plays government dudes. He got shot in the head. But it was just like, I'm name dropping at this point. But he did shit like The Crazies, and he was behind Creepshow.
Yeah.
He produced Creepshow. And this is a lesser known one, Bruiser. Okay? Little indie kind of indie film, really fucking creepy. The dude puts the mask on and becomes
Yeah.
And then he created Tales from the Dark Side, the series.
Yep. Which go check that out. Seriously.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And Creepshow just came back, didn't it?
Yes, it's on Shudder.
Yeah.
Now I think, they did. I saw the first episode. And guess who's in it? Fucking Adrienne Barbeau.
Of course.
Fucking Adrienne Barbeau is
Whoa!
Full circle.
And we come full circle.
God damn.
Legendary scream queen. So I still love her in fucking the first Creep, because Adrienne Barbeau was in the original Creepshow, the first one, where she played Billy, who was married to Hal Holbrook's character. And he keeps having these daydreams where he fucking murders her.
Kills her.
And he's like,
Blah,
Billy.
blah, 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 blah.
And he just blows her fucking head off and drops her. And everyone's just like,
Whoa!
nice shot. It was like, he was so brilliant. Oh, and then he feeds her to a giant monkey. But yeah, Romero was behind that. He produced that. He produced fucking Tales from the Dark Side, or he created and executive produced that. The Dark Half was a good one. That was a Stephen King adaptation he was behind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Definitely check out Bruiser. That came out in 2003. Or no, 2000. That came out in 2000.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it was a while ago.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, check that. That's kind of a slow burn creeper,
Yeah. I don't know. Watched it all the way through. God, I remember watching that. Fuck, that's 20 years old now. Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember watching that a long time ago. I can't remember if I caught it on the internet. Did I? Can't remember. I guess no, probably not.
Yeah, just like on YouTube or something.
I think
like
it was.
that?
Well, I don't even think YouTube was around then.
Oh yeah, not in 2000.
So, also really cool, I want to mention that, because kind of his legacy in that. His son Cameron is also a filmmaker. And his son Cameron did a prequel to Night of the Living Dead called Origins.
No shit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, which offers, it doesn't give it away, but it offers some more insight into where the zombie virus came from, like that. I've yet to see it myself. I heard rumors of it, and I would like to check it out myself. But yeah, it's I think he that came out in 2015, so 2 years before his dad passed away. And but I heard really, really good things about it.
Could you imagine collabing with your dad on a movie from 1968 that made...
I'm trying to imagine your dad being the father of modern zombie horror.
Well, that'd be
Like
fucking
all
nuts.
zombie films after this, they didn't exist before this. Like 1968, that kicked it off. And then
I brought up Max Brooks earlier, and there was like stuff that he like collaborated with Max Brooks on, and there was, I know he was a part of some of the films, and then the remakes that came out. I guess the first one was it Day of the Dead? The first remake?
No,
it was
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of
Dawn of the Dead was
the
the
Zack Snyder
there
one.
was the Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
Tony Todd,
Yeah.
and then then it took forever to get the second one remade, and then that was Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
And then it was Snyder who showed that you could remake these movies and make them fucking awesome.
Yeah, and
So,
then Max Brooks, he was like, I'm not gonna help you on this because you're not going with the original like.
oh, the original idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Snyder made
Because the zombies did not represent Romero's
vision.
Yeah, what he wanted for
So,
that.
yeah.
But I mean, because he was executive producer on like the Night of the Living Dead from 1990. He was executive producer on the Crazies. So like the fact that he's cool with people remaking his films and then being involved with it instead of being a lot of times they'll go make a movie and someone remakes it 20 years later. You're not involved in it at all.
Right.
But
I was going to say, I know that Snyder shied away from the social commentary because Romero was always huge on the social commentary, and Dawn of the Dead was all about commercialism, commercialist zombies. Like that, how commercialism and capitalism has turned us into zombies. Going to malls in droves on Black Friday, television, and Jim Jarmusch came out with Dead Don't Die, Dead Don't Die, where the last thought is burned into the zombie's head. And fucking Carol Kane, Chardonnay. That movie was so fucking weird because it's Jim Jarmusch. Okay, Tilda Swinton was fucking off the chain, but the zombies, walk around saying the last thing they thought of, like the two that were killed on their way to the diner to get coffee, and shit like that. Shit is fucking hysterical. But with that, I know that his social commentary was the best part of it, whereas he attacked different things. He attacked social norms in Night of the Living Dead. He attacked consumerism and commercialism and capitalism in Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead was about society's elite, like I'm thinking of the word, not caste, but kind of like the elites versus
it's like cast but with an E at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was like the caste system, but it was like the 1% and the 99%.
Yeah.
Okay, where it has the one tower, the lone bastion of humanity, and all the fucking rich people live at the goddamn top, and they live in opulence, and everybody down below, like the middle class and the poor, all live down at the bottom, and it's fucking squalor, and it's shit, and it's militarized, and so he was putting the military-industrial complex and the elites, the 1%, on trial in Day of the Dead, and then government tinkering. And then Bub, then you had like I think the zombie Bub, the smart one, the one that started evolving and became smart. So then you introduce that shit like that, and so he was always putting these things on trial. He was satirizing. He was satirizing them, but it made you think. So we got zombies going like that, but then you're thinking, oh, this really does apply. He was always fucking socially relevant, even in Diary of the Dead, which attacked. This new generation's kind of like addiction to their phones and addiction to social media and shit like that. It kind of went after that kind of like ADD mentality.
Right.
It's got to be right in front of me or it doesn't exist.
Right.
So for some reason, kids today, no object permanence whatsoever. Well, he went after that with zombies. So I love that he stayed true to the end. He stayed true to his vision, straight up.
I do, I definitely want to end with this story, and I like it how he would attack these things, but he wouldn't go, oh, well, I made Night of the Living Dead, and I did this, and this is this. Somebody actually asked him, when you were casting Night of the Living Dead, why did you pick Dwayne Jones? Why did you pick him, right? And he was like, he came with the best audition.
Yeah.
Like I love that answer. It's like he just came in the best. I gave everybody a chance, and he had the best take.
Yeah, that's why I picked him.
Film. Yeah, he came in. However.
If you take something else from that, that's on you.
Yeah, exactly. Low key. I love that. Guy who doesn't look at the explosion behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows it's there.
Yeah.
That just puts him in such a magnificent light. It's like the dude nailed it. He came in the audition. Of course I'm going to hear him. You know, I'm not going to reject talent. The dude he slammed it. He fucking slammed the audition. He's there, and fuck yeah, I'm going to cast him. You know, fuck what other people think, because I know there was some ruckus over that. People were like, you got the blonde white chick, you got the family, you know, they hold up, you know, like that, and they're all being told what to do and led by this black dude.
What?
And it was like, you know, it leaves it to Romero. The dude was fucking awesome. The people that I know that have met him and hung out with him have all said nothing but wonderful things about the guy. And to think that at that age, when he's in college, and that just, you know, is that awareness or is that just oblivious? Or he didn't give a fuck about that. He was just like, no, I'm just here to make fucking movies.
I'm going to make the movie. You take from it what you fucking take from it.
Yeah. Which is the intention. Yeah. You tell the story.
Yeah.
And you take from it what you take from it. Is like,
that's how a movie should be. You should look at it and you know what? I should have a different feel about it than you, and you should have a different feel about it than he does, and we should talk about it, and maybe, you know, we'll get somewhere.
Yeah, like in a podcast.
Yeah. Huh. We're kind of fucking rolling into that.
Yeah.
It comes round full circle.
God, we've been doing that a lot
The
today.
snake is eating its tail.
Fuck, what is that? What is the name for that?
The Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. Yeah, that's right. Ouroboros. It's hot in this fucking...
It is. It's a little warm in this studio. Yeah,
three grown men in a 5x5 room. Shit, this is probably 5x7. Anyway,
we're gonna call it the coffin.
Ooh.
Oh. Buried alive for your entertainment.
But yes, but man, remembering George Romero, you know, obviously the father of modern zombie horror, and one of the grandfathers is just modern horror in itself. Such an inspiration to, like, I don't think there's a horror director who has not taken inspiration from him. Every single one of them has looked back and grew up with those movies. You know, everybody from Clive Barker to Wes Craven to John Carpenter to Toby Hooper. I mean, so many of them. You know, we grew up on these films. Romero was an inspiration to me. I like my work, my early film work, some of my short films were all about attacking some sort of relevant social commentary and having that so that people could relate to it on that level. And I always tried to broach that, and that came from Romero. He inspired my work. My work is shit, but he definitely inspired me. He did.
Inspired, yeah.
Yeah. It's negative connotation. You do great work.
So, but yeah, man. So, rest in peace.
Happy birthday, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
George Romero, we miss you, but your legacy lives on.
Oh, it will
definitely.
Forever. It will. All right, y'all. This has been our first studio recording session. We've had a lot of fun. We want to thank you guys for listening. If you're still listening at this point, we would love to just give us feedback. We want comments, questions. Let us know what shit. Let us know what works. Anything we should change, we're here for you guys. We want to continue to do this. I think this is going to work out in the studio setting. I think this works really well, being able to talk to each other face to face. And we would really love to get some of your comments, your feedback, so we can discuss it and make this better for you. You want to catch us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, pretty much any podcast platform now.
Free Radio, Broadcast.com,
iHeartRadio,
Anchor.fm, iHeartRadio. Yep.
Check our Patreon out. You guys supporting us lets us continue to do stuff like this, you know, paying for our gas money and microphones. So go check us out at patreon.com/weekinhorror. You can go there and sign up for a few different levels. You can have a shout out from us. You can get our After Dark, which is us talking to our special guests after we do our special guest episode, getting to know them a little bit more on an intimate level. Our Bloodbath, where we take horror icons and pit them against each other, and they fight it out to the death. You should definitely check out our episode 2, because that one was fantastic.
This next was going to be good.
It was pretty good.
Oh, the sneak peek. Sneak peek. Just for listeners who got this far. Next one will be Dexter versus Hannibal Lecter.
That'll be episode 3. So
that'll be our third bloodbath.
We drop our second bloodbath on the 1st, and then our third one, which is going to be fantastic.
It's gonna be sweet. No, wait. Look at this. So Eugene's fucking amazing. He set this up. Should we give him a teaser as to who is going to be our next After Dark guest?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because he's already locked on.
Okay, sweet. Yes.
Yeah. And so the next guest we actually have is a horror director. He's up and coming. He's actually going to be at Texas Frightmare Weekend. He travels all over the country. He's friends with like Bill Obdus, who did Terrifier. Apparently they hang out a lot. But it's Billy Pond, who's director of Circus of the Dead.
And I think Cowboys from Hell too.
Yeah, and I think it's a couple others too. But he's like talking to him on the phone. He's awesome. He's energetic. I can't wait to have him on the show.
It's going to be killer. So
It's
yeah,
gonna be
go
killer.
to Patreon. Just drop a couple of bucks. It's not much. You know, you probably got the change laying on your dresser right now. Throw us a couple bucks. You get some extra content all the way up to free stuff, depending on how much you want to drop in there. Check us out on patreon.com. Go to facebook.com/weekinhorror to get your daily splatter. It's a little bit of horror history every single day on your feed. And once again, guys, I had a blast in here tonight. I think this is an awesome setup. And it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you guys. This is Alex.
This is Eugene.
I'm JL.
Stop touching me. We'll see you next time.
Get off my lap.